Before we get started with our notes, let's just make sure our table of contents are good. I know yesterday when we did that vocab, I didn't glue it in the video, so hopefully you did. And when you do glue it into your notebook, the vocab sheet from yesterday, just go ahead and put expressions vocab. And that was yesterday, so we could put the 17th. And then today, the next two pages, 25, 26. I'm going to make this evaluating expressions. So now when we go to these pages, my next two, mine in here. All right, so we can title this Evaluating Expressions. So when we evaluate expressions, what that means is we're just substituting numbers in for variables. So the first thing we want to do is really just two steps. Our first step is to just substitute given numbers for variables. Substitute meaning we replace the variables with the numbers. Substitute given numbers for variables. And then the second thing we do is we just use order of operations to simplify or to solve. So let's look at a couple examples and then I'll have you try some. So if we're doing this, looking at an example, our first one, we can go ahead and try y divided by 2 plus x. And then after it gives you the expression, it'll usually say x equals 1 or any number. It will just give you the values for the variable. So x equals 1 and y equals 2. So instead of using this x and y in our expression, now we're going to replace it with these variables. So instead of y, well, y is 2, so we're going to replace that with 2. So it turns into 2 divided by 2 plus, and instead of x, we'll replace it with 1 because x equals 1. And then just solve. So order of operations, divide first. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And we get 1 plus 1. So at the end, we get 2. Let's try one with a little bit more going on. Let's try one. Our second example. Let's make this m times p minus q squared. So then with this one, I'm going to have m equals 3, p equals 7, and q equals 4. So now we have this. Now, wherever you see a variable, you should replace it with some number. So instead of m, well, m is 3, so we want to put 3 there. So 3, keep everything else the same. So parentheses, instead of p is 7. So 7 minus, instead of q is 4. So we'll put 4 in place of q squared. So all of these just replace. Instead of this, we put this one, and so on. And then now order of operations. Do parentheses first. So 7 minus 4 gives us 3. So now bring down the parentheses, the squared, 3. Then we want to do exponents. So just exponents around the parentheses. So just 3 squared. 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. And we just have 3 times 9, because they're just separated by parentheses. So 3 times 9, we get 27 as our final answer. Now over here, I want you to try these. So using the notes you just did, you try to do a couple. And if you're not sure, just wait until we go over them. And then you can see what the answer would be. So the ones I want you to try, go ahead and let's do let's start with 6q plus m minus m And when m equals 8 and q equals 3. And then the other one I want you to go ahead and try is one that has a little bit more to it. Go ahead and try 12k minus h squared, h equals 2, and k equals 3. Try both of these and see what you get. All right, so now if we go over these, we're just going to replace. So 6q, well, they're right next to each other, so it's going to be multiplication. So instead of 6q, it's going to be 6 times q is 3. And then plus m, well, m is 8, so plus 8, and then minus 8. Now just order of operations, multiply first. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 8 minus 8. 18 plus 8 gives us 24, and then 24 minus 8, we end up going back to 18. So 18 is our final answer. Then if we look at the next one, 12k, so again, they're right next to each other. So instead of 12k, it ends up being 12 times whatever k is, and k is 3, minus h squared, h is 2, so 2 squared. Order of operations, start with exponents. 2 squared is 4, bring everything else down. 12 times 3, we get 36, minus 4, our final answer for this one. Although, did I replace something? Okay, so our final answer for this one, 36 minus 4, we end up getting 32. All right, we'll practice these more tomorrow. Thank you.